Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Finnemore's art class.
So now that we have all of these coloured papers, what we're going to do with them is make a collage. So, as you can see, I'm getting the different pieces and laying them out, seeing how they'll fit together and gluing them down. I decided to use the watercolour paper that we did in the last unit where we blended together all of these orangey yellow colours and purpley colours to try and make a sunset kind of look. I've also used the yellow part to cut out a sun and stuck that down. Underneath these coloured papers, I've also drawn some lines to guide where I want the sky to be, where I want the water to be, but I didn't do much other drawing. I just put those lines as a guide. Now I'm making the sea and the sand underneath, so I'm just kind of laying out the pieces like a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. You kind of need to put them down, see where they'll fit, see how you can arrange them, and then glue them down. So here I'm putting down the sand, and I'm putting together different pieces and just gluing them, overlapping them over each other. So now for the ocean, I've cut out some wavy lines to kind of look like waves. I'm trying out some different colours. I'm using all of those different papers that we used for our watercolour experiments from the previous videos and our previous units as well. I tried some of this pattern paper, but I think it looked a bit too unnatural, so I decided to get rid of it. Had to fiddle around with cutting the waves into different shapes to get them to fit and look right together. So I just played around with it, moved them around, shuffled them around like a jigsaw, like I said before. This process is a lot of just trial and error, seeing what will work. So these are all the steps to make the background. And like I said, you just need to keep moving it around and seeing what looks right and what works. So once you've done that, the next step will be to get the animal stencil paintings that you did in the last lesson, and you're going to pick which ones you like, cut them out, and arrange them on the paper. Once I cut out my animal pictures, I realised that some of them were quite big for my landscape, so I had to be really picky and decide which ones were my absolute favourites. I wanted to use the dolphin, the really small dolphin, in the background of my picture to make it look like it was far away. So this is like what we did in our first unit where we talked about how if you draw or include things in your artwork that are really small and in your background, it makes it look like they're further away. And then we've got things that are quite a lot bigger in the foreground. I was rearranging, trying to find the best way to put all the shells at the bottom. Cut out the fish that I decided to use as close as I could to the edges of the stencil. You can do that too. Arrange them, play around with them, see how they best fit on your background. After doing this, I realised it would have been better to use a bigger piece of paper for my background, so you guys can use a bigger piece of paper than what I did, and I think that will help you to be able to fit more things on more easily. I also used the greenish blue kind of colour to make some seaweed. I've cut out these longer strips and made them into seaweed and stuck them down. So now I'm just arranging all of the last little pieces to make my ocean scene. And this is the final result.
And now it's your turn.